what's your thought on this take around like work on yourself and it being selfish?
I think they're viewing it in such a small capacity. For example, selfish to go to the gym every day for an hour, 2 hours, because you're taking that time away from your family. The reason behind why you're doing it and why are you gone for those couple of hours every day?
Go work on you, and the people in your sphere will naturally want to elevate themselves with you not trying to get them to do it.
If someone doesn't want to work on themselves, that person probably doesn't love you super closely either, or they've got some things they're struggling with and trying to work with. The problems in my life are because my wife won't let me change, which wasn't true. It's a story I told myself, and I hate to admit that. And I think a lot of men do. And it's like, you got to take responsibility.
Welcome to the Everyday Leader Podcast. Leadership is a choice. Join me, Matt, and my co-hosts Drew and Tate each episode as we break down how to lead powerfully in your family, team, and organization.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Everyday Leader Podcast. Today is a pretty unique opportunity for me to be with Drew, as always, and a special guest, his wife Liz. So this is going to be kind of fun. We're going to have the chance to, as Drew said, poke around Drew and Liz's marriage today on the podcast, which will be exciting. So Liz, thanks for joining us.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let me...
And Drew, thanks for being brave enough to let her be on or have her on.
Yeah, you said exciting, and they say that like anxiousness and excitement feel the same way. So I'm trying to decide which of those two emotions I'm actually holding or feeling right now. So we'll choose excitement.
That's awesome. Love it. Well, so what we wanted to do today was talk a little bit about this idea around, hey, if you work on yourself, that's the best way to really affect, your marriage, your family. And it's a myth in our society that if you work on yourself or kind of like, pour into yourself, that's selfish. So let's actually just start there. I'd actually love both of your thoughts on that idea. Like, why is that a myth? How have you seen that to be not true? And what is the truth that you found around that idea of working on yourself?
Yeah, if I think back, Matt, when I was serving as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I had a leader come and speak to us, and he talked about and I think we've actually talked about some of these concepts before on the podcast, but he taught us about this idea between responsibility and control. And when you don't take responsibility, or when you blame something, you lose control of something. And so I remember this is like, I'm 20 or 21 years old, hearing like, and through the lens at the time was like, I have a companion. So if you aren't a Latter-day Saint, you get assigned to another missionary you work with. It's like, if that relationship isn't good, it's not a 50-50 relationship. If you say it's 50% his responsibility to have a great relationship with me, then you're giving up half the control of it, or you're losing control. So that lens, and we talked about that through the lens of marriage. And I just remember thinking like, oh, wow, for me to say my wife, like for me to say like it's her responsibility to bring 50% to our marriage isn't true. Otherwise, I'm saying I don't have any control over my marriage, or I'm giving up the control of my marriage. And so that I always had going. Now, I haven't always demonstrated that perfectly, and we might even get into some times where I put blame on Liz or said, hey, the problems in my life are because of my wife not doing what I want her to do. And I was taught that lesson when I was 20, and it's just stuck with me my whole life. Like, if I assign blame, then I lose control of my life. So
Yeah, that's so good. Liz,
Oh,
what about you?
especially in
What's your thought on this take around like work on yourself and it being selfish?
um so as far as the idea of it being selfish, I think whenever people view it that way, or the world a lot of time views it that way, I think they're viewing it in such a small capacity. Like they're only seeing, like, for example, oh, it's selfish to go to the gym every day for an hour, 2 hours because you're taking that time away from your family, from your kids, from your spouse. Um, when Sure, technically, are you not with them for that couple of hours a day? Yeah, you left physically, you're not there. But when I feel like that's all they focus on. So that's where they're getting the selfish concept. Like, oh, well, it's selfish to take that time away. But it's like the reason behind why you're doing it. And why are you gone for those couple of hours every day? Because you're improving yourself. So then whenever you do come back, you're showing up as the best version for them. And I feel like that's the complete opposite of selfish.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great point. It's like you leave physically so that when you return physically, you can actually be there, right? Because I think the
Yeah,
other
exactly.
truth here is that sometimes you can physically be with your kids, but you're not actually there, right? Like you're not really present, even
Yeah,
though you're physically with them. So yeah, that's awesome.
right.
I love that. Um, okay, well, so first of all, well, Liz, I want to hear from you. So like, just tell us a little bit about like how you experienced changes in Drew or how he was showing up, like some of those shifts that you've seen over the years, and you just some of the ones that stand out to you. Like, what have you noticed?
Okay. Um, so you kind of already said one of the biggest points is like sometimes you can be physically there, but emotionally or mentally you're like checked out. You're not there. And there was a time where like that's kind of how Drew was a lot of the time. Like his job was super stressful and he hated his job and he wasn't in the best health and multiple different things. And so there were multiple times where I felt like, sure, he's here, he's home, he has a job that he's home every evening. I like know his exact schedule. It's very predictable, but he's physically here, but he's emotionally not here and he's completely checked out because his job was so draining and stressful in different ways that like weren't serving him and he wasn't getting filled up by things. Um, and he wasn't pouring into himself as far as like his physical health either. And so I could see all of that, but I couldn't quite understand all of that at the time. Um, and so now looking back at that, I realize, oh, that's been huge is those shifts that he's made to, well, just to choose one example, the physical health example, just that shift, he's like put in the time and put in the effort to actually work on himself physically and go to the gym and eat better. He got a trainer, like he did all of these things that again, physically have taken him out of our home whenever he's committed to going to the gym every day. But he has improved dramatically health wise, which I've seen has translated into like him feeling better about himself and showing up more confidently and um being able to, I think it just makes sense when you feel good about yourself and when you feel better, you're going to show up better for the people around you. Um and then the job, he left that job that wasn't fulfilling to him to now go after things that fill him up and that he feels like he's called to do. And even those are unpredictable sometimes. It's not the 8 to 5 schedule where I knew when he'd be home every single day and I knew exactly how long things would take. That's not necessarily our life right now. There's times where he's like, oh, you know what? This week's going to be unpredictable because of this and this and this that I have going on. But we are also now on the same page where we know what he's working towards and he actually believes in what he's doing and it gives him confidence and it's filling him up to where then that reflects on the rest of our family and he shows up a totally different person now at home where he's way more invested in time with me one on one. He's way more invested in time with his kids. And I mean, obviously, as a wife and a mom, I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. And okay, so Drew, do you remember anything you want to speak to around like as you were making those decisions, some of the like trepidation maybe you had around any of that, like, oh, this is going to be selfish, or just yeah, anything that you can share from your perspective, looking back on those times when you made those decisions.
Well, I think so. So back to that idea of like responsibility and control. There were often times I found myself saying, and this wasn't true. It's just what I chose to to say and tell myself at the time. Like, well, Liz buys the groceries, so like I've got to eat what she cooks, right? Or like,
Right. Like I can't eat healthy because
right.
my wife
I can't eat healthy if
is
my wife won't change the cooking for me
is
when
in
I
charge
ask
of
her
the
to.
cooking. Yeah.
Or I didn't want to go to the gym by myself, so I'd invite her and she'd tell me no. It's like, well, I can't go to the gym by myself.
Yeah.
That would be, I don't know. I found reasons why, but I found myself often blaming Liz. I never said that to her. And I'm not proud that I thought that and felt that way. And that like, that I almost at times, um, like the problems in my life are because my wife won't let me change, which wasn't true, but it's a story. It's a
Yeah.
story I told myself, and I hate to admit that, and I think a lot of men do. I think a lot of men, my experience is a lot of men will say, "I'm not doing this because my wife won't let me," or whatever it might be, and it's like you got to take responsibility um, for yourself, and um, it's just interesting that as I've worked on me, it's like our whole family's worked on themselves
Right.
more. Not like Liz ever, it wasn't ever like, hey, I'm doing this, so now you've got to. It's just like naturally has happened.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't remember what your question was,
yeah,
Matt.
that's awesome. So is that kind of how it happened? Like, is that kind of how it happened?
Yeah.
Like, Liz, would you say that you were kind of like, oh, hey, Drew's making some of these changes or making some of these intentional adjustments, and I'm going to, or is that kind of how it happened?
Yeah. I mean, I think it kind of naturally, a lot of times that is just naturally how it happens. Like if one partner's gonna pour into themselves and work on themselves and do good, the other one naturally follows. Like they want to keep up and balance it out. I think it naturally happens that way. Um, I'm also just very stubborn and I don't like being told what to do. So I would take it in the beginning when he was like, "Well, you should go to the gym with me." I always took it as like, "You can't tell me what to do. Like I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it." And so then I would almost like push back more.
Yeah.
So once he like, I joke around all the time, like, "Oh, once you like stopped telling me what to do, then I naturally like wanted to do it." Like he went and did his own thing, got a trainer and whatever. And I naturally wanted to get healthier and try it myself and do things myself. Um, to where, I mean, now we do it together and it just works and our life looks totally different and it's great. Um, this is kind of shifting a little bit, but I had this thought a second ago that I wanted to talk on. He was kind of making the point um about, yeah, like him going and working on himself and doing his thing and how men sometimes often feel like they blame their spouse or whatever, whether consciously or not, that this is why I can't do that. And I think on the flip side, I think I've personally seen this and maybe I've done it myself even, but I know I've seen this in several relationships where oftentimes it's the wife, just because that's who I talked to. And obviously I am the wife. And so that's kind of what I observe more, but I'm sure it could go vice versa, where the husband might be blaming the wife, being like, "Oh, well, I can't work on myself because she's in charge of the groceries. She won't go to the gym with me." So, but on the flip side, where the wife is almost like too controlling, being like, well, and the wife is looking at it as selfish, like, "Well, you can't go to the gym. You can't. Why would we spend money on you to go to the gym? Or why would we spend money on you to go to this conference to work on this self improvement conference or this coach or whatever? Because like that's selfish." And she's looking at it at from the perspective of you're leaving us, and there's like not that clear communication there, and there's not that support to just believe in them and let them do what they're going to do. Like, and I feel really lucky and really blessed that Drew is who he is. Like, I have never, our entire marriage, like, I've never questioned, like, what the heck is he doing? Like, I've never not trusted him, I guess I should say. Um, so I'm really lucky, I guess, because maybe not everybody could say that, but like, he's never given me a reason not to trust him. Like, he's always figured it out. If we've been struggling financially, he figures it out. Like, I've never had to not trust him, but I have other people that I've observed have even said about their spouse, like, well, I just can't trust them. Or I don't know. Like, I don't know if we should spend the money on them to go get this gym membership because I don't know, what if he just like doesn't go? Or they try to insert themselves almost too much, like trying to control what their spouse is doing. And I just feel like that's not the way to go about it. Like, you have to step back. And I also joke that, like, I don't know, maybe I'm too trusting and I'm just dumb, but
Yeah.
but I also see that like he's an adult. Like, we're both adults, and I'm not his mom. Like, it's not my job to control my spouse and tell him what to do and where to go and how to do things. That's exhausting. Like, I have kids for that. I'm not. And so I think it's important to like let your spouse, and he does the same thing in return. Like, let your spouse do what they're going to do and do what they feel called to do. And as long as it's good, obviously, don't let your spouse, smoke crack. But like, as long as it's these good things, even if it seems scary, it's scary because you feel like you're giving up that control that you shouldn't be controlling in the first place. Like, does that make sense? Even what I'm saying, you should
Yeah,
be
totally.
able to, yeah, like trust them to then spread their wings and fly.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. And it kind of ties back to like what you were just saying a few minutes ago about um you wanted to take action as soon as Drew quit trying to get you to do stuff. And that
Right.
we've talked about that a little bit on the show before. Like, that principle is so awesome and so perplexing to us as humans. Like, it doesn't compute. It's like, wait, you're trying to tell me that to get my wife to take care of her health, I just like quit telling her what to do or quit trying to get her to do it? It's like, yeah, literally, like,
Yeah.
go work on you, and the people in
Mhm.
your sphere will naturally want to elevate themselves with you not trying to get them
Right.
to do it. And I don't know what else to say to people other than, like, just go try it. Like, if you don't believe us, if you don't believe Liz's story today, go try it. Go work on you and see if it doesn't elevate the people around you. And I promise you it will.
Right.
So
And
I
what I
love that
one
you
thing
brought
I,
that up.
I
It's an
will
awesome point.
one thing I will say, Matt, is like, and if someone doesn't want to work on themselves, like this might be harsh, like maybe that person probably doesn't love you super closely either, or they've got some things they're struggling with and trying to work with. And so um I think it's like when you really love each other and you allow for that space and you're raising yourself, they want to raise themselves because they love you and want to continue to be around you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Okay. That's so good. So good. Okay. What about anything from either of you around just like some of the bumps along the way as you're both starting to take action, like be more intentional about working on you? What comes up? Like, what can people expect about some of the bumps along the road when you start doing work on yourself and then as a couple?
There can be lots of bumps. And I'm debating which bumps to get into and to share. Um yeah, as I kind of think about that, sometimes it's one thing I have noticed as I would go and work on things and make changes, I would start to see things differently. And so one of the challenges sometimes is, and this could be for a husband or a wife, you're working on yourself, you go learn something amazing, um, and you just think this is how everything should operate now, and someone doesn't have that lens and they don't see that, And then when they act different to what you've learned, you want to come in and like fix it and correct it. And that can be challenging also, to be like, well, here's here's how you ought to do your macros on your meal, or we're going to use this different way of speaking to our kids going forward, or whatever the principle you learn, you've got to remember that that just because you've learned it, they maybe haven't internalized it yet. And often the best time to correct it isn't in the moment either. It's finding space to say, hey, this is what I've noticed, this is what I've seen, this is what I'm implementing, and this is what I see is working for me, this is what I see is not working, instead of sometimes just being quick to be like, hey, you got to do it this way because I learned this new thing last week, that has changed my mind about some things. I don't know if that makes sense, Matt.
Yeah. So that's a super useful thing to recognize. Like, as you start to work on yourself, there's going to be a tendency possibly to project your lens on your spouse. Okay. From multiple people here from experience, strive not to do that. It's like, it's not helpful, right? It kind of goes back to what we were just saying, that all of a sudden it's like hey, you should do this. Hey, how do I get you to do this? Hey, how do I get you to learn this? And it just doesn't work. Like, people don't want to do it for that reason. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because we talked about this like at our AMP Awakening, right? Where it's like, hey, don't go try to tell your spouse all the stuff that you learn or all the stuff you're going to do. Go be like a powerful you and let them figure out like what that is and how to interpret that, what that makes them want to do. Right. And I think that's just super sound advice. Like, go work on you and just be a demonstration of what is working for you. And the people around you will start to like gravitate towards that and be interested in that. So
Yeah, go be a better husband, go be a better father, and they'll want to reciprocate it.
yeah, 100%. Liz, what do you think? Any other like road, bumps in the road you can think of that you think would be useful to talk about?
So the other one that I thought of that came up immediately was not just like your spouse pushback, but pushback from other people. Um, which, especially if it's other people that you care about, like your friends, your family. And we're really lucky, really blessed to have really good friends, really good family. But even they have like questions or concerns, or there's been times where I've, talked with other friends of mine that kind of voice concerns like, oh, well, like, doesn't that worry you that he's off doing these things? Or doesn't that worry you that he wants to spend money on like these conferences and in all these different places? Or doesn't that worry you that he like quit his steady job to just like do, like, you don't even know what he does, or you don't even people ask me, what does Drew do? And I'm like, I don't know.
Drew
I
lives an
do.
abundant life.
It's exactly. And it's like not a common, like, the reason I say I don't know isn't because I don't know, but it's like most of the time when people are asking that, it's like people who don't have the same mindset as us. And so they don't really understand it anyway.
Yeah.
But anyways, but that disconnect of like when there's other people, and if it's someone that's like not in my circle, I don't care, but other people who are like my good friends or my family that don't understand or have questions or concerns about things, that's been kind of hard. But what's funny is a lot of the time, and maybe this is just like my stubbornness coming out too, but a lot of the time when they, and like my fierce loyal side, but a lot of the time when they voice concerns, even if it's something that I've thought or I've had a concern about myself, when they're saying negative things, not necessarily that they're saying negative things about Drew, but just like maybe about what he's doing, or just kind of questioning it in
Like
a weird way,
questioning it. Yeah.
it makes me then step in and be like, no, like, this is what he's doing. And like, I believe in him, and this is why we're doing that. And like, I get feisty back, and it makes me actually, if I was questioning it, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm on board now, because it like
There's my
makes me
conviction.
hang
It
in there
just
and
showed
defend
up.
it.
I'm lucky.
That's awesome. No, that's great. Right. So yeah, like, be aware that people from the outside could come start to question you, even like in like from a place of love, could even like plant
Oh,
doubts
totally.
in your mind, like encourage you not to make certain choices or not like pursue what you feel called to do. So that's a really
Right.
good thing to bring up, is like be aware of that, of those bumps in the road. And what I've seen from you two is that you two have just stayed so locked in, like together, that it doesn't matter which side of the family it's coming from. Like you guys are just able to kind of like keep going, and it doesn't need to turn into like this big mess or this drama, because you guys are just have stayed clear on like, yeah, like this is who we are, this is what we're doing, and like keep that communication really open. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and that's like my
Yeah.
experience of you two.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. That makes us sound really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I just have found it's so important to support your spouse. Doesn't mean you always agree with what they
hmm
do. And Liz already talked about this, but she's no one's a bigger cheerleader for me than my wife. And I can go do anything when I have a spouse that believes in me. And the same for her. Like
Yeah.
I have there's times where things come up and maybe what she wants to do doesn't fit our calendar, or sometimes there's things that I want to do that maybe doesn't fit the budget. And if we can figure out how to make it work, it's like, why would I not support my spouse in the things they want to do? And I think that's one of the greatest things we have in our marriage
Yeah.
is like, if I can tell her why I want to do something, she supports it, and vice versa. It's I want to say we don't keep score, but we probably do in other things. But there's never like, hey, you got to hung out 3 times last week,
So now I can.
so I have to hang out 3 nights this week, or you only let me go twice, so you can only go twice. Like there hasn't been any of that.
No.
Yeah,
And it's been a beautiful thing in our marriage.
Yeah.
that's amazing. Love what you guys have shared today. And along the lines of this scorekeeping thing, like someone said to me a while back, and they were actually talking about work-life balance, which we're not talking about today, but they said as long as you keep score, there always has to be a loser. Like just think
Right.
about that. Like if you keep score in your marriage, you're committing that either you or your spouse always feels like they're losing. Like who wants that?
Right.
And again, like I do it too, like we do it, and just I invite our listener to like become hyper aware of that. Like, are you keeping score with your spouse, and do you recognize that you're creating someone needing to be a loser all the time? Like keep scoring in sports, yeah, not in your marriage, you know?
Right.
So that's awesome. Okay. This is so good. Okay. Work on you, and like dispel the myth that it's selfish to work on you. And I mean, what Drew and Liz have shared with us today is an awesome demonstration that like working on you actually inspires other people around you. It actually lifts other people around you. And that is in fact not selfish. And then I love what you guys said about like help your spouse get what they want, like support what your spouse wants. That sounds really
Mhm.
simple. And yet how often do we just like get into this, like all of a sudden it's like, wow, I've shut down everything my wife brought up to me in the last 2 months. Like probably
Yeah.
not super useful, right? So I love that. Like help your spouse get what they want, support them in what they want. And yeah, there's going to be like agreements and understandings and communication around all of that, because sometimes there's a process or things like we're not ready to do that yet or whatever. And I just love that idea of like support your spouse on what they want. That's so simple and yet like so important.
Hey,
Right.
one other thought since we're just here, Matt. I hope you're not having to run because I want to share this one last thing.
No, go for it.
We had something we realized was really important. Also, we had to speak in church a few years ago, and we spoke about how hard and how difficult marriage can be. And what was
I love
really
this story.
interesting,
I'm so glad you're
well,
bringing it up.
what was really interesting about that is I've never spoke in a setting where I've had so many people come thank me afterwards
Yeah.
than when we both got up and like, it wasn't like our marriage isn't terrible.
No. Yeah. We didn't get up there and just be like, wow, marriage sucks,
Right,
guys.
right. And we've had some things we've gone through that have been difficult and have been challenging. Um, and like, I think why marriage is like such an amazing thing is like, it is difficult, or it can be difficult to take two opposite people and like be united in a commitment to one another and to what you're doing. And we even were in a little bit of what's the right word? We had a bump today, even before the before this podcast, and I had to apologize because I wasn't showing up as the husband I'm committed to be. And so just know that that's part of it too. Like, you're not perfect. Your spouse sure isn't perfect. Um, and like, that's just part of it as well. It's not always going to be easy to be married, but the work is so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Beautiful. Liz, final thoughts.
Oof. I feel like I had a thought a second ago, and now I was just like listening to you and getting lost and
In my eyes.
getting
In your
lost.
eyes.
No, I kept going back to thinking about just that whole idea of like supporting your spouse and what they want to do. And yes, obviously there's going to be some communication in that if like it's a budget thing or a time thing, or it's not like you can just say yes on a dime to everything that your spouse wants to do all the time. But I think sometimes people just get caught up in um the control of it all again and thinking like and just shutting down what they want to do or what they say over and over and over because they're trying to control like, no, this is how my marriage is going and this is how I want it to go and this is who you're supposed to be and this is who I'm supposed to be. Like, I'm gonna go off on a but like the example I always think of is when Drew came to me a few years ago and was like, I want to be a pilot. And it's funny because a lot of people probably would have been like, and a lot of my friends even told me like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you let him do that? Like, why would you say yes? Why would you let him do that? And my first thought wasn't even necessarily like, oh, because he's responsible. It was like, what do you mean? Why would I let him do that? I'm not his mom. Like,
Yeah, like I don't
he
let
wants
him
to
do
do
stuff.
it. Of course, I'm going to support it. Like, it was like weird to me that people don't let their spouse do things and like be who they are and explore things and try new things. And that just thought is so wild to me. So, anyways, with that whole idea of, I just think it's so important to, yeah, support your spouse and let them be who they're going to be and support who they're going to be, especially if it's different than what you thought or what you really wanted, like putting into a box of what you wanted your spouse to be like. As long as it's still obviously a good thing, let them be a pilot. Like, why not? You know?
I think it's just
Yeah.
being willing to summarize that, Matt. I think it's just being willing to ask, how can we make this work?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so
That's awesome. Well, it's so good. Thank you. Thanks, Liz. Thanks for hopping on and just sharing your perspective. I think it's really valuable for people to see the other side of just like, that they hear Drew talk and hear his experiences, which is awesome. And like to hear your side of like this journey has been really valuable. So thanks for coming on. Take responsibility for your marriage. If you're listening to this, take responsibility for your relationship. Don't keep score. Support
Mhm.
the people you love. Figure out ways to help them get what they want, and work on you. And watch the people around you also strive to elevate. That's super good stuff. Um, Appreciate you guys. It was awesome. To our listener,
Oh.
today's the day.
today's the day.
Thanks for joining us on the Everyday Leader podcast. If you're ready to take your leadership journey even further, subscribe to our weekly newsletter for more insights and practical tips. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram to stay a part of our growing community. Just follow the links in the show notes. If this episode impacted you, please help us spread the word and share the link with a friend from wherever you're listening.